Alright, let's do this. If you watch the This Is Not a Test one, I'm going to be doing a reading of my Facebook posts from the past. The reason I'm doing this is because slowly but surely all of those posts and everything like that are gone. I hope that there's enough left that actually, I think they're only keeping 10 years now, it seems, of posts, but it seems there's a lot more missing. One of the good things about it is I have, in later years, done the posting of memories, and so I've had posts that come back up. So basically, I will date everything. Looks like my first post, I don't know why I did that. Looks like my first post is going to be July 19th, 2011. But I will even mark that one when I read it. Some of them are quick. I have been known for literally running on, talking about lots of things, over-explaining, and a lot of people don't even read. A lot of my friends on Facebook over the years don't even read my posts. They see some long thing that Sean posted and they basically ignored it. There are a few people, and those people are automatically members of my tribe. That's my tribe. Anybody who makes a comment on things that I said, I've always considered them tribe members. So basically, better than being my friend. I am not going to reveal their names. Instead, I'm going to just be like going comment or commenter or anonymous or, the next one. I will identify anything that I post as me, especially comments that I make on my thing, and I'm going to say me or I said or Sean. I will be identifying me. If anybody who's ever commented on any post that I made is watching this and they say, I stand by everything that I said in the past, I will say their name. I'm not going to give them, it's not the benefit of the doubt, but if they don't care that I'm saying their name, I will say their name. Until then, like especially with this first post, I will basically read their name. I also might be making new comments about the post, because the interesting thing about storytelling is that there's the story or there's the what happened, and then it gets influenced by two things. For me at least, it gets influenced by two things. It gets interested by the audience of who I'm saying it to. And where Facebook is concerned, my audience is just basically the random world that I'm going out to, and the other thing that influences how the story is being told is the situation that I'm in currently. That affects the past story. Where I'm headed. My agenda. I have agendas. Everybody's got an agenda. I have an agenda of what I'm trying to say and how I'm going to say it. And that's going to influence the story as well. So you might see me talk about how I was popular in school, because I was sort of, but I was also a pariah in high school, and I talk about being bullied a lot throughout the years, and how that shapes me. The stories that I used, unless it's the actual happening right then and there, It's the story from the past is a reflection of what's going on right now. That makes sense. So those are the two ways that it influences who I'm saying it to, and what is currently happening. What's my agenda of why I'm even saying the story, and that's the story. That's basically for me as a storyteller, because that's what I always considered myself. I don't even consider myself literally anything else. If I had to have a label, it's storyteller. It's not any other, all the other labels that people give to themselves. I really don't even, I actually hate labels, but I don't even like to discuss like the labels that people have or attribute to people. You are who you are. I've always labeled myself as Sean. So if I had to have a label, the Sean label. I am a Sean. There's no, I like to think of myself as unique, but I'm not. I might not be unique. There might be other Seans in the world, but I highly doubt it. And they probably wouldn't want to be a member of my tribe if there are. So that's the caveat or the, thing on it. So I'm just gonna literally just jump right in. It's obviously first episodes for me have always been kind of like eh. So when I do a first thing, it's there's a learning curve that you guys have to take with it. I don't know how many posts I'm going to get through. People have labeled me as a long-winded poster, so already my introduction is too long. So let's just hop right in. All right, let's go to the first post. July 19th, 2011. Did you ever feel just blah? It's no good. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just, well, blah. Commenter said, yeah, most times it leads to feeling worse. I actually don't even know what context that was. I don't know, why. I actually feel blah a lot, so I can see that happening. The next post, was on August 21st, 2011. 24 stitches and a hurt right arm. Driving an ice cream truck can be dangerous. Comment. Dang, those kids beat you up that bad for ice cream? Feel better. This is me. I wish I could have run a few of them over just to make myself feel better. Instead, I had a blowout on the highway and flipped Annabelle, my truck, and she was totaled, basically protecting me. Another commenter. It's a good thing you have a hard head, cuz. Me. Yep. My head versus street, stone, wood, asphalt. My head wins every time. August 22nd, 2011. I look a lot better than I feel. Post. These are posts. This is the post. Right. August 22nd, 2011. I look a lot better than I feel. Click on the comment. Commenter, you look crazy. Another commenter, ouch, what happened to you? This is me. I was driving an ice cream truck and I blew out 3 very bald tires on the highway, and the truck flipped around several times and darn near killed me. The wound on the side of my head was from the driver's side window being blown in, and the doctor's first reaction was I was going to be blind in my left eye. This accident also sealed the deal that I would never do astronaut or space testing for NASA. August 25th, 2011. Saw Annabelle, my ice cream truck, today. Every single roof support was broken. I was told that normally when an ice cream truck rolls, it usually means that the driver is going away in a body bag. So even though the supports were broken, Annabelle still protected me. I also go. Oh my god, my typing is so horrible. My writing is so. I'm also going to get my stitches removed today. No new news to a lot of people. I'm just a big baby. Commenter. Sounds like you are very blessed. Sounds like Annabelle is no more. There will always be Annabelle, but only one of you. Grateful you're okay. Commenter. Count your blessings daily. Post August 26, 2011. Yesterday I celebrated 10 years of marriage by walking in the rain at an ice cream truck graveyard. Good news is they found my wallet, and I think they're going to postpone our. I think we are going to. My typing is horrible. No wonder people hate me. I think we are going to postpone our celebration until I heal a bit more. Commenter. Congrats, Sean. Many more years ahead. August 28th, 2011. It rained, the wind howled, but for the most part nothing has happened. I'm still recovering from my accident. Then again, I wouldn't be able to sell ice cream on days like this anyway. I'm going to probably go back to work on Tuesday. See if I can make rent. Commenter. Feel better soon. Another commenter. Good luck and get well soon. Me. Thank you to the commenters. Post September 28th, 2011. Going back to ice cream for 2 more weeks. And then going to Target. I don't have. There's a lot of other things in here that basically I shouldn't even mention. When I'm a bit more stable, I will launch myself full throttle. And I probably shouldn't have mentioned the a company that I was working for. I will try to strike those from. November 11th, 2011. Took Mendel to the vet, and now he's gone. What is it about Thanksgiving and the death of our cats? Hope everyone else's day is going better. Commenter. I feel sad for you too. December 31st, 2011. Have a wonderful new year, everyone. post January 23rd. I don't think I have to say post anymore. I think I just say if I say the date, it's a post. So January 23rd, 2012. Finally got tired of losing people I actually know for a game that I was playing. I'd rather have people I know. So I quit all of my games and I blocked gaming at the time. Commenter, what about those of us who were both? Me, it's with a heavy heart, but I needed the change. I've been unhappy with the game for nearly a year now, and the only reason I continued playing was for those who were both. I recently had a surge of new friends with only one goal to be my neighbor for one of the games I played. I had many family members and close friends for many years drop me as a friend on the sole reason that my Facebook was graffitiing their pages with game requests, and it became my only visible use for Facebook. Commenter, it's a hard habit to kick, but hopefully it'll pay off. Another commenter, I'll miss you as a game neighbor, but certainly hope we'll see more often as a friend, especially if you're back in up here. Me, I'm there. I'm in that place. Yippee. Another commenter. Hope to chat with you more. Alright, after all of this, it took me till February 2nd before I have one of my quote-unquote long posts. So here we are at February 2nd. February 2nd, 2012. Being really superficial, I've come to the conclusion that I'm part of a really attractive family. I know it's the eye of the beholder, but I remember people, radio, and TV always telling me that ads only portray a small portion and were a level of beauty that the rest of the world couldn't even hope to aspire to. But with my family, and even with the one my family seems to marry, are all very attractive people. So much for that. Sometimes I wonder how some of the less attractive people with even less talent than those in my family end up in the media or on billboards. But this goes deeper than shaping my perception of things. With my family, I'm average. But at least unto the rest of the world, I find myself at jobs thinking, how can I be the best looking person here? No wonder I can sell more ice cream than anyone else, compared to the other truck drivers. I'm Brad Pitt to them, as Steve Buscemi? I don't know why I said that. Personally, I think Steve is more talented as an actor, though Brad makes almost 20 times as much as... Oh, that's what I was trying to say. I'm basically saying that I'm Brad Pitt, but I'm really Steve Buscemi, but people think of me as Brad Pitt. Brad makes 20 times as much as Steve, who works 5 times harder, but I digress. Yes, I'm arrogant, megalomaniac, delusional, or whatever. When it gets right down to the brass tacks of it, think about this. I've probably done your job or something similar to it, and you probably do it much better than I ever did. I was probably paid more, and when it comes to anything dealing with sales, I'm an ice cream to Eskimo salesperson. I usually don't try. People seem to generally want to buy whatever it is I'm selling. Another thing to think about is in my family and extended family, I might even be considered less than average in attractiveness. I'm certainly not the smartest, and I've always wondered what would happen if my family was unleashed. Were unleashed. That's what I said. No comments. So I would assume that everybody just disagrees with it. I'm skipping all the silly posts that I did. I don't even know why I posted this, but let's do this. February 14th, 2012. I know my mom being married for 20 years is kind of a big deal, but this is ridiculous. I don't know why they changed your name to Valentine's, but happy anniversary, Mom and Bob. Everyone already seems to be celebrating it. February 28th, 2012. Watching my wedding video and realizing that this is the first and last time that all the insane people that make up my friends and family were together. Basically, a once in a lifetime event. Thank you for that. March 8th, 2012. As much as I would like to make the family reunion, I'm starting a new job on the 15th. Have fun, everyone. Commenter. Glad you got a job, but we'll all miss seeing you. Wanted to hear about the ice cream story in person. June 15, 2012. I was getting nostalgic and getting lost thinking about the good old days, and then it struck me by lightning. The good old days were pretty scary and horrible, and I would never want to relive them. I can't tell you how happy I am that those years are over. No comments. June 17th, 2012. Happy Pops Day to all the fathers. I have to admit, I do not envy any of you. July 1st, 2012. Home again, rig-a-jig-jig. July 14th, 2012. After a brief stint on the no drive list, I am back, and if you don't like it, stay off the sidewalks. Commenter, woot! Another commenter, congrats, you working this weekend? Me, off this weekend, but bright and early Monday. August 3rd, 2012. So after hearing how raunchy the movie Ted, in quotes, I don't know why I put quotes, was supposed to be, I gave it a gander, and after seeing this, I came to the conclusion that the rated TV-14 show Wilford is not only raunchier, but better written. August 22nd, 2012. No man or woman shall ever be held unequally accountable than any other person. The quote. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. I consider myself a fairly flexible and open-minded, But, and this is a big but, I have a small number of things that I hold firm on. I will even fight to the death on each of these things. I am a member of the human race. Humans all have physical and mental disabilities, which for all intents and purposes hold us back instead of promoting our success. We seldom rise to the challenge, or do we do something spectacular or even of note. In fact, a very small number of all of humanity will achieve any semblance of greatness, and most of us will probably be forgotten fairly soon after we're gone. With that in mind, I think of James Joyce, who wrote many novels about how the Irish would rather destroy their heroes instead of embracing their accomplishments. I firmly believe that this isn't relegated to just the Irish, which is why it severely upsets me when I have to stand by and witness and watch any and all of those who have come before me broken down because they should have been held to a higher standard for being a human being. Our heroes are taken away from us because they were not, as I stated, actually human. I was actually going to write a whole thing about Joe Jackson, but I'll just say that it saddens me that when it's acceptable not only to knock our heroes off their pedestal, but to state that it's a good thing to destroy our heroes. What do we as a race have left to believe in? What would I strive for greatness when all the general population is going to hold me to a greater standard, only to use this as unequal standard to destroy my legacy? No comment. August 26, 2012. I've never liked Palin, but I voted for McCain. A hero, and someone with a proven track record. I think the years in campaign have changed him, but I still felt he made a better president than Obama. The country as a whole proved me wrong. And the fourth half-black president was elected. Now everyone's upset with him, not the Congress or the Senate who make the laws. So a lot of people are voting for Romney, a wishy-washy flip-flopper who will do and say anything to get elected, even if it's contrary to his own beliefs. Unlike McCain, Romney doesn't make me proud to be an American. Romney doesn't give me the confidence that he is going to improve this country. In fact, I'm very confident that he will make things worse by allowing the Republican Congress to run wild. I think that people should remember why they voted for Obama in the first place. Obama gave us the most transparent presidency in history. He made a lot of changes to the business as usual, and he was the first stuck with a lame duck Democratic Congress and then forced to deal with the stalling tactics of a Republican Congress. Nice going. I think the Republicans have no one to blame but themselves. A side note, I became very political on this thing, and my page is not about any political party or anything like that, and it's because of not the current president, but the previous president. And I literally just don't even want to hear any more about it, because if you just reading what I'm saying about Mitt Romney, think about that, like how I must think about the person who actually became president for the Republican Party. When this is what I think about Mitt Romney, and I still think this about Mitt Romney. I still think that he's a lesser man, and I still think that McCain was a better man than Obama. But that's beside the point. Let's continue on. October. Oh, and yeah, no comments. Notice how once I start getting political, nobody's commenting on my political stuff. But here we go again. October 22nd, 2012. Please stop sending me messages that you love Mitt Romney. because the only reason that you would vote for him is because he's not black. I'm already scared enough that he might actually win the presidency and do to this country what he did to Massachusetts as governor, bowing down to the Dems, flip-flopping on his own words. Seriously, as much as I don't like Obama, I feel forced into voting for him because I dislike Romney more. This is a man that is basically doing anything that it takes to get elected without a basis or a plan once he's there. Now, I'm getting email from family and friends talking about how great this retard is. And the only reason anyone has given is the fact that Romney is not black. Romney is a coal man. Romney wants to release coal regulations so that coal mines will become unsafe, and when someone dies in those mines, he will shut them down. If Romney's budget goes into effect, and if he doesn't cost the middle class an extra $2,000 in taxes, he's going to send our deficit off a cliff to the tune of $7 trillion. Can you imagine? Only $7 trillion? Within the first 6 months of taking office, which is almost half as much as Bush did in 8 years office, and more than twice as much as Obama did in 4 years. If you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, well, keep that in mind that when Romney was governor, Massachusetts was the only state that allowed civil unions. If you believe that anyone should be able to marry as long as it makes them happy, Romney has flip-flopped and no longer supports gay rights. The only thing I agree with is the evangelical Christians is that Mormonism is a cult. I could go on and on about this man. I can go on and on about how this man doesn't lead. Instead, he tends to crumble under the pressure and allow others to make the policy for him. Though Obama's plan is slower and I would like it, and like it is working, with Romney, who knows what we will actually get. But if you are currently working, I suspect that your job, whatever it is, will be threatened under President Romney. And it will guarantee that it will be the last election I vote in, because I will flee the country for Australia. I just think it's funny because now I'm like kind of like, Romney's not a bad guy after all. Yeah, he's still an idiot, but he's not as horrible. He's not as horrible as it was. Like, I could never imagine like the past 4 years and the current situation we're in ever happening to this country, and yet it did. And here I am, almost a decade ago, 9 years ago, going, "Well, Romney's so bad." Not as bad as what we got. October 22nd, 2012. It's a quote. "If you don't stand for something, you shall fall for anything." Peter Marshall. Commenter. "The best defense is a good offense. The Mel to cook on Alice." Commenter. Sorry, that quote was actually Mao Zedong, the late communist premier of China. If Mao said it, he was quoting Mao. I definitely did not want to do that. Sorry, experiencing technical difficulties. Fucking Facebook. We were talking about, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Let's find that post. Let's see how we're on time right now, since I'm waiting for Facebook to do it. 35 minutes. The one thing to note is that I'm not positive, but all these posts that I'm actually talking about right now, I would probably guarantee that by the summer, most of them will be gone. I don't know how often they purge it, but it seems like it's more often than I like to even think about it. Eventually, I won't even have any messages on this page if I don't post anything. One of the really heartbreaking things in my mind is that I specifically posted things like this so that I could always go back to them, not have like freaking Facebook do a stupid memory thing, oh, we're bringing up this memory, that you had in the past, and here it is. I've always wanted it to do. I always wanted it to do this because you can follow the timeline. You can follow my growth. How much I've actually how much I actually changed, in thought and feelings and. Okay, here we are. So what it basically said was that one of the commenters is no longer a friend of mine, no longer friends with me, and that please go to their page, and they basically dumped this to their page. I don't know why, and it makes no sense. But we will go with. Let me start this over. Start from the beginning. October 22nd, 2012. If you don't stand for something, you shall fall for anything. Peter Marshall. That's quoted. Commenter, the best defense is a good offense. Mel, the cook on Alice. Another commenter, sorry, that quote is from Mao Zedong, the late communist premier of China. If Mel said it, he was quoting Mao. The original commenter. There's no way of knowing who coined it first in the exact quote. Jack Dempsey used it with regards to boxing around 1920. Mao Zedong used it much later, but some sources say he might have used it as a phrase as early as 1922. Regardless of either of those, the concept itself prevails in the Sun Tzu's work. All that being said, I was actually just throwing an insight at Sean from back in our days at college. I quoted, it's the Frantics, it's from Taekwon Leap. I think somewhere along the lines of that I got it mixed up with best defense is a good offense with Sun Tzu, because the idea is if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, is also in the Art of War in Sun Tzu. So this is me doing that. Peter Marshall said the exact quote in 1947. The closest I could find in Sun Tzu is, fighting is the sure result in victory. Then you must fight even though the ruler forbids it. If fighting will not result in victory, then you must not fight, even if it's part of the ruler's bidding. A commenter, now that would make a great bumper sticker. Hee hee. November 4th, 2012. I'm actually hoping that I can go back to work tomorrow. I've been stir crazy for a week now. November 5th, 2012. I have to say I would rather slow progress than not knowing what we are going to get. I'm actually terrified of this man. I'm referring to Romney. There's an article. The headline was, Romney never expected someone to make this video. It was about him trying to say that the minority vote doesn't matter, and he really just needs the Republican vote to win, or even more so the white vote. November 24th, 2012. My impact on this world might amount to a single drop in an endless ocean. What is any ocean but a multitude of drops? And that's David Marshall from Cloud Atlas. December 9th, 2012. Saying words, no matter how prolific, empowering, logical, and or sound, without having applied them to your life, are just empty words with no real meaning. We as human beings, because we have the ability to speak, have only our words to keep. We must do everything in our power, even if it costs us our lives, to keep our word. Saying things because they sound good makes two fools, you and anyone who will listen to you. December 21st, 2012. What to do with only 2 hours left? Might as well go to work. Commenter, can you even work in all this rain and wind? I didn't respond. I wonder why. December 24th, 2012. I hope those who observe that you have a wonderful Hanukkah and 8 crazy nights. To others who renewed the winter solstice, Slante Mayeth, warmest Kwanzaa, 7 principal wishes, happy birthday Caesar, joyous Satanera, and Merry Christmas. December 31st, 2012. I hope everyone has a happy, safe, and wonderful new year. All I can say is it has to be better than 2012. On the 8th of January, 2013, I just wrote a whole thing about how I was feeling, and IE just closed and I lost everything. So now I'm feeling frustrated because computers are basically worthless in the hands of the adept. Commenter, Everything is useless in the hands of the adept. Another commenter. LOL. Also on January 8th, 2013, it's a picture of me doing makeup work, and I actually put horns on my head. And a commenter said, I didn't even write something. I'm surprised. I normally write something with the pictures, but nope, didn't write anything. A commenter said, come on, Sean. You know the devil doesn't look like that. He looks a lot like you and me. Spooky. And that is me. I said, so in January of this is my comment. I don't know why I made a comment instead of putting it in the post, but this is my comment. So in January of 2001, I was doing a makeup for a variety pilot show. This was 21. This was hour 21. This means I've been doing this for 21 hours. Though I thought we only had minutes left, it really turned into 9 more hours. So it was 30 hours of filming that we were doing straight. This still was the best job that HopeWorks ever got. It's definitely the most fun. Definitely had a lot of fun with that. It was just absolute craziness. And we were in peak form. Because of that job, and I did a bunch of other fabrication jobs, especially in California. But that job where we were just literally just flying by the seat of our pants, created our catalog, and we did pretty much everything that we could possibly do for that variety show, and it was non-stop. We thought they were just doing the pilot. They ended up shooting almost 10 episodes, and it was literally non-stop for 30 hours straight. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. That was awesome. Just had a side note on, if the producer or director and wants me to put up the title for that pilot, because I don't think it went anywhere. I think it died on the vine, but I would do jobs like that even now. I would just do nonstop, just continue, just work for the entire time. January 13th, 2013, watched Les Mis. After all the reviews were gushing about this Fabo adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Broadway masterpiece, with that said, I have to say, I felt the critiques were wrong. I feel like there was a joke there with no punchline. My synopsis. So Wolverine steals a loaf of bread, and Maximus decides that Wolverine made a better gladiator than himself, so Maximus lets Wolverine go only because he knows that Wolverine will be back. This is where the joke falls apart. Wolverine rips up the piece of paper that is no longer a gladiator and hires Catwoman to make Prada shoes, except Rorschach has the hots for Catwoman until he found out that she left her kid with Borat and Mrs. Lovett. So Rorschach fires her. Catwoman needs money, sells her hair and her body to anyone with money. Maximus sees the opportunity and gets Wolverine back. Wolverine makes a deal if he can bring Catwoman to the hospital, he will turn himself in. Maximus agrees. Catwoman dies in the hospital, and Wolverine buys Catwoman's daughter from Mrs. Lovett and Borat and runs away. This angers Maximus, who vows to hunt him down, and basically the entire movie goes this way. The songs were a bit out of everyone's range, so instead of singing them outright, they just went with loud instead. But the cast went from being the origins of Wolverine to The Notebook to another crazy chick flick, crazy movie. Even the Revolution, or at least I think that was the French Revolution. So everyone's voiced except Zoe, Mrs. Barks. Hurt my ears. But she gets a shot because basically stops singing during her long drawn out death scene. Great. So just when I thought that this was an opera of unnecessary singing makes sense, I'm not being a big fan of Les Mis. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Lloyd Webber. I didn't care for Cats, which is funny because I like T.S. Eliot's. I think all of Andrew Lloyd Webber's musicals all just seem to sound the same to me, and it's probably because I'm biased, but wouldn't even begin to know any of his work. But I will say that Susan Boyle did a much better, believable job with I Dream a Dream. Commenter. Except Weber did not write Les Mis. Babul, I'm going to try to say this right, Babil, and Schrodenberg. I'm trying to fight my urge to go and see it on the big screen. After all, we do have a 55-inch flat screen and surround sound, and I'm patient. Most of the reviews that I heard have been like yours, so there you go. Damn. This is me. Sorry, this is me. Damn, someone says they love Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, and there I go believing them. Then again, my lack of musical theater knowledge would probably fill the entire Grand Canyon. I don't know where I was going with that. January 15th, 2013. Okay. I'm finally tired of people saying that we are stomping on the Second Amendment. Here's what it says, as written by Mr. Jefferson. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You do not have the right to keep any weapon you own a secret. In fact, anyone who buys a gun legally has to register it, your name and address, as well as the number and the types of weapons you own are public record. Second, your right to bear arms is contingent on the individual part of a militia. This is not a gun club. And I quote, a well-regulated militia. The word everyone seems to forget is regulated. That means you have to actually earn your right to have a gun. Gun owners must learn, train, and continue to learn and train as part of a team. And anything your militia does, but is not, that not only should be recorded, but as part of public record. You are not a secret or a hiding group or hidden group of protectors or vigilantes. There is nothing in the Second Amendment about having a gun for sport or even survival. The last line. Means the state cannot turn to the well-regulated militia and take their guns away. Now, my question to anyone and everyone who owns a gun, do you belong to a well-regulated militia? If your answer is no, or I don't know, then you have no right to keep or bear arms. Also, if you have any unregistered weapons, then you are breaking the law. Personally, I love guns. I love shooting guns. Yes, I like assault rifles, and certainly certainly more enjoyable to fire tons of bullets from a fully auto or even a semi-auto machine. I like rifles much better than pistols. Please stop using the Second Amendment as a defense. The era of militias is long gone. This little group called the armed forces has taken its place. But it is certainly within your rights to form a militia. Aliens, extraterrestrial kind, zombies, Mothra, or any invasion that might happen, and if something like this happens, I'll be the first to wonder where the hell are all the guns to stop it. This one's got a lot of comments. Commenter. I'm pretty sure James Madison wrote the Second Amendment. The definition of a militia was understood differently than it is today. What the founders meant was the ability to form a militia. Nowhere does it say or imply that the militia has to be standing or organized as we speak. No, it has to be well regulated. So it's still, you drop the word regulation. It drives me crazy when people do that. In fact, the founders never intended for us to have a standing army. That is true. That's the reason why they wrote the Second Amendment. That's what it was for. It was for the fact that we can turn our citizens, instead of having what's known as 10% of the population being in the standing military, we could have 100% of the population being in the standing military. And that's why you can't... So I agree with this person. In fact, the founder never intended to have a standing army, which is why the Constitution especially prohibits appropriating funds for one longer than 2 years. The Bill of Rights. Yeah, I know. The Bill of Rights is our rights of the people, not rights of the government. There is not a single right provided by the first 10 amendments that specifically says a certain class or group. Ooh, this is a lot. A certain class or group of people. There are two main concerns the founders had when drafting the amendment. The threat of foreign invaders, yes, that was their big threat. That's the reason why they wrote that in. And the threat of a government turning on its own people. Now, they weren't worried about the constitutional government or the government of the United States that they were forming turning on its people, because it has checks and balances, and we the people are the ones who put them there, and they had ways of getting rid of them, usually by voting out. That was what they thought about. Never did they even cross their minds. I mean, it's even written the way it's written is that it never even crossed their minds that our government would turn on the people, because the entire thing with the Constitution was it's for the people. Now, you have to include the people who work in the government because they're part of the people, but they're basically just representatives of the people that they represent. I mean, it's our whole freaking argument that the government's going to turn on its people is fictitious. You know, it's ludicrousy that the founders thought that, oh, the government's going to have this. But they were definitely worried about foreign invaders, especially because England and France were basically mounting in Canada, and Spain was, of course, mounting in Mexico. and they were definitely worried that they were, especially because they owned a lot of the territories which are now the United States. They were going to definitely squeeze us out, and the colonies were going to go away. Which the War of 1812 almost proved to be true. So the Second Amendment is there for the express purpose of the people to respond to the call of defense and to protect themselves. Nope. They have to be regulated in a militia, and it's the call to arms from the regulation. It has nothing to do with protecting yourself. But it is about protecting property and everything like that, and protecting themselves from their own government. No, never. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with protecting yourself from your own government. The government is created by the people, and that creation by the people. And like, as much as I did not like the previous president, he was put there by the people. And that's our president. And no, we can't have a defense against him. I mean, we have to wait the 4 years and then we vote him out. I mean, that's how it works. And as much as the government itself failed us with both impeachments to remove him from office, it doesn't make a difference. If people still want, a president like that again, somebody who's a totalitarian, yeah, it could happen. And he could get rid of these, people don't understand, if a dictator actually takes power, he'll get rid of these laws. Those laws goes away. Your gun rights go away. You're given those rights by the people, not by the government. These rights are done by the people, created by the representatives of those people. And somewhere along the line, our government has forgotten that they represent the people. They think they represent corporations or the people they're donors. It's ridiculous. But no, still no. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with protecting yourself from your own government. Never. That's never even. There's no written document. It's a made-up thing that I think started in the 80s or the 70s. It's not even a 60s thing. It's definitely a new thing, and there's no that fear-mongering protection stuff, and to bring this other thing, not once in the Constitution ever there's not one thing that says that these weapons, your right to bear arms is for protection. You don't see that anywhere. You don't see that this is to protect you. Because guns do not protect. Guns kill. The end. That gun is not a shield. It will never shield you. It will never protect you from an aggressor. And in most cases, an aggressor who really wants your gun will take your gun and use it against you. So don't even say that, a good guy with a gun bullshit. Because that's what it is. It's just bullshit. A whole thing, I can break this whole freaking thing down. And I probably did comment on it. And here I am freaking doing this thing. About James Madison and all the other things. But let me finish, because this is just absolutely almost down to stupidity. And I was probably like fuming when I read this whole thing. So the Second Amendment is there for the express purpose of the people to respond to the call of defense to protect themselves from their own government. As I just said, I disagree with that. A side effect of this is exactly what we've been dealing with since its adoption. Misuse of the right to bear arms, which is why the founders gave the government enough leeway to regulate it. However, regulation does not imply abolishment. I have not said to abolish guns. I've not said to abolish guns, and I've not even said that just because we don't have militias anymore, that your right to bear arms will be taken away. No. You can basically, at states, even New Jersey is probably one of the big states that does it. Texas does it too, but Texas basically has contradictory. The way their freaking gun laws are freaking written, it makes me insane because you have open carry laws, but if you open carry and somebody calls it in, you can be arrested and have all your guns, not just the guns on your person, all your guns. They can go to your house and take all of your guns away. That's Texas law. But New Jersey has literally written into their constitution that they don't abide by the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not give people the right to own guns, and they can actually and they have, and usually it affects disproportionately people of color. But they have, if somebody reports that a gun is in a house. Like if I call up the police and I say that this person owns a gun, even if it's a registered gun, legal gun, and everything like that, does not matter. If I report that somebody owns a gun, the police can go into your house at any time, and search and seize any property that they want, not just the guns. It's insane when you look at those. The laws need to be freaking rewritten. They need to be fixed. Is the biggest problem. And so it's not about your freaking whole thing. I'm protecting myself. You're not protecting nothing. And there's laws written to freaking counteract that and freaking wreck you. You don't even realize like how bad it is. And most of those laws were written by Republicans. So foo-hoo on the freaking Democrats who haven't even made one leeway, not even one step towards freaking taking away people's guns. So abolishment is just these things make me crazy when I read comments like this. Sorry, I like I said, I should be reading this because this is a past comment and this thing. Congress cannot make any laws banning guns. They can ban types of guns. They can ban whatever they want, and they can ban pistols, and they can ban pistols in areas. So don't even say that because they and just so you know, cannot make those laws. They made those laws. The Brady Bill itself was made a law. There's laws all over the place, and you should read them because there's 227, I believe, federal laws, and each state has between, I think, Oregon has the least amount, which is like 23 laws, and then it goes all the way up to almost 1,000 laws, which you get into like the major cities. Congress cannot make any laws banning guns. That would be unconstitutional. It's not. They can, however, propose amendments to the Constitution, which 3/4 of the states must ratify, and then they can. The Second Amendment will be changed. The Second Amendment cannot be changed. That is, you cannot change the one sentence amendment that is the Second Amendment. You can make another amendment that basically ratifies or makes changes to the Second Amendment. But the Second Amendment will always be the Second Amendment. It's just like Prohibition. When Prohibition was made, that Prohibition's still in the Constitution. It's still an amendment. They just made another amendment basically ratifies that thing. So that's the ratification that the person's talking about. Let's see what my response was. Oh, I don't have to do that. I can do this. Thank God I was really short in my responses. Yes, James Madison, the father of the Bill of Rights, made the first draft of the first 10 amendments. This includes the second. The first draft of the Second Amendment was written by the final draft of the Second Amendment was written by Thomas Jefferson. But let's look at what James Madison actually said, shall we? The highest number in which, according to the best computations and standing of the army, I'm actually going through. This is all the things that you were saying, and all the things that this person was saying. And I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is actually the actual quote James Madison said about the Second Amendment, which is a long freaking thing, and it's the reason why Thomas Jefferson changed it to just one sentence. Still, according to everything that has been stated, you have the right to bear arms. A person must be in a group of well-regulated and here in our modern times, the well-regulated militia is our armed forces. But the rule does state that you have to form a well-regulated militia according to James, and the right to bear arms is based on protecting the common liberties and united conducting progress and the fictions of confidence. Nowhere was it written that you have the right to protect yourself. The reason you have the right to own gun is so you can be called into service to protect the state. See, that's what it is. You're not protecting it's nothing about protecting your state. You're protecting the state. You're protecting your government. Personal protection, game hunting, or any other reason other than a well-regulated militia is not a person's Second Amendment right. This is also another one from me. Oh, I went through everything I just basically said. I'm not going to go through all of it. I've also think a thing. The one change that it is that you do not have your you don't have to belong to a well-regulated militia to own a gun, but there has to be a well-regulated militia, and you have to be a part of it. That's the whole idea. They have to be able to call anybody who owns a gun to service, and that was the whole reason behind it. You have to be regulated. Everything has to be freaking above board. You can't have hidden guns. You can't have guns that that are basically gifted to you. You can't have any of those things. And the right, the commentary said. One commenter said, "Thank you, Sean. You put this into perspective. Yay!" And then the same commenter who was talking about this, and it goes back into the right to self-defense is inherent in our Constitution. It's not inherent. It's not written. Nothing about self-defense. Not a single thing. Never. And I even get into, and he goes, regardless of its constitutionality. Now, basically, it's not constitutional. It's unconstitutional. But regardless, banning guns would just be an effective as prohibition of alcohol was. It doesn't matter what it would have been. It's how it's written. For law-abiding citizens, it works great. Unfortunately, the law-abiding citizens were not the problem. No, the law-abiding citizens were the problem during Prohibition. That was the problem that they had, that nobody was even following the rules. It's like people people make me crazy. This goes into back and forth. There's 20 some odd comments. And I really said, I'll just do my last comment, because literally this goes back and forth. Everything that I was just explaining about his freaking thing, and him insisting that it's, your personal protection is basically what the Constitution was written for. And it's like, no, the Constitution was written for the people, and it's not about. And the Constitution doesn't say what you have the right to do. The Constitution says really all it says is what you have the right not to do. Finally, if we were a theocracy, hopefully we're not, it would be divine right of the citizens to own guns, and only God would be able to take them away. We're not. Which it seems to be what you've been stating all along. There is no divine right, or any right you have, there is no divine rights, and any rights you have were fought for, bled for, and protected. They can be taken away under the guise of security. Most importantly, the words in the Second Amendment is regulated, which seems like everybody seems to forget what regulations actually means. If the Second Amendment intent was to say that people have the right to bear arms, then it would not have included the first part. Well regulated is the only purpose for people to have the right to bear arms. If citizens are not protecting state security, then they are not allowed to own weapons. It is how it is written. It is what was written, and the way for and the reason for the very reason it was written. I can't even read my own writing. It is how it is written. It is, and it's what was written, that the way for this very reason. Oh my God, what the fuck was I writing? That's it. I'm gonna stop here. So cool beans. This is the first of the series, a novel idea, and I hope it works out. All right, see you guys soon.